I most definitely see differences in the patterns of a presentation of male depression versus female depression. And in particular, men tend to persevere longer before they present with their symptoms. They tend to mask their symptoms in maladaptive ways, such as it presents as stress, or it presents as aggression or irritability. They will tend to drink as a way to manage their symptoms, and they tend to throw themselves into their work. So they ignore the symptoms that they are experiencing, perhaps the hopelessness that they're experiencing, the anhedonia that they're experiencing, and they rather focus themselves entirely on their work, thinking that somehow that's going to help them persevere through their episode.
The guy who is depressed does not want anybody to know that he's depressed, and you develop coping skills. You develop, there's a phrase in the mental health field that is, fake it till you make it. And it's a very valuable phrase because you do a lot of faking. You do a lot of trying to kid people that you're still okay. Somebody comes up to you and says, "Hi John, how are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just fine." Lies, you're not fine. But you're not going to tell them that. And so from my point of view, I had to fake it till I made it. And sometimes that was very, very difficult.
For symptoms of what I recognize in my husband, sometimes I know that he has, Jonathan tends to throw up before he had to go to work. And when I see that, I know that something's wrong. I know that now. At the time, I didn't know that. We always try to say it must be gastroenteritis, something like that. With my father-in-law, his major symptom was just not getting up, period, which is easy to hide if he's living on his own, which he was. So it took actually a number of months before any of his children knew that there was something going on. So those are two different personal experiences of what I've seen in men exhibiting depressive symptoms.
It's interesting that when I was younger, and before I was aware of depression at all, I started to have some issues with alcohol as an escape. And I got to a point where I said, no, this cannot go on, because I could see myself becoming very seriously impaired by alcohol because it was so attractive. It's so attractive to forget everything. And that was compounded with issues that I wouldn't have related to depression at the time, but clearly are. Self-acceptance as a gay man coming from a very fundamentalist Christian background. And so I had lots of struggles with that when I was younger. And that was where the time where my escape was to drink. And that way I could forget about the whole thing.
So the reason I think a lot of young men get depressed is they have no way of really expressing what's going on for them inside. You know, there's sort of the acceptable emotions for a man. There's that anger, and you can fight and yell and get really upset. That's sort of socially acceptable, whereas being sad or chronically sad is not something that many people would find manly. And I think what happens is it leaves a sort of buildup of repressed emotions. I definitely felt that way. I had an analogy for myself where if I felt really upset or sad, that I would just kind of suck it up. I'd actually just take a deep breath, and I'd picture myself putting a cork on a bottle and screwing it down tight, and I could feel the pressure in my stomach. I'd just go, there. I pushed it away. I've dealt with my feelings. And that buildup, it takes a lot of energy to kind of hold that back all the time, a lot of sort of psychic energy. And that's what I think really triggered some of my depression in the past, is that I would be holding all this toxic stuff inside, and it just makes you feel really, really down and out of energy, and that's what was causing me to sort of withdraw.